I want to just touch on just kind of the process for coming into the program and then the 5 tracks to employment.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you've heard about them, but I'd like to share them with your listeners because I think it's very important. So the first step is to apply. So we want you to apply. You can apply, as I mentioned, within 6 months of discharge with a memorandum rating, or if you're you're going to be discharged for medical under the IDES program, you will apply. We will determine your eligibility, and then we will invite you for an orientation session. And then when you come in and you're oriented to the program, you will then be greeted by a vocational rehabilitation counselor. That counselor will sit down with you and make a determination of entitlement, as we mentioned, and start the evaluation and planning process. After the evaluation and planning process is finished, you will have agreed upon your program plan and will begin the execution of that program plan. It could be an associate's degree, bachelor's, master's, whatever is decided and agreed upon by you and your counselor. And then you'll have, of these options will be the following. Reemployment with the previous employer. So that's the first track. So perhaps you went on a tour of active duty or you're in the reserves and you came back with some injury, but you want to go back to work with your previous employer. We can conduct an assessment, provide any additional training you might need to bring your skill set up to speed, and we can provide workplace adjustments or reasonable accommodations based on any changes that you've had physically.
Sure.
Then we have rapid access to employment, which I kind of alluded to just a moment ago, and that's where maybe you have all the education and training that you need, but you also need some assistance in the employment search and the preparation for that. So we can provide nominal training for some things and then get you on your way with your resume, dress for success, and so forth.
That's a skill in and of itself, the job search.
Yes. It truly, truly is. And then, taking your combat boots off your resume, as we call it, and all of that.
Yeah.
So you can be relatable to private sector employers who may not have a military background. The next one, number 3, is self-employment. So those veterans who are entrepreneurial in nature and have a idea of their own business that they would like to start, we can work with them on that as well.
Oh, wow.
And then the majority of our program participants, and that's why people get confused with your statement of, is it a combination of the GI Bill and veteran readiness and employment? And that's employment through long-term services, where veterans are going to institutions of higher learning and obtaining degrees to pursue careers in their chosen field. Mm. And that's the majority of our participants are in that employment through long-term services track. And the last one, which is very important to mention, Tanner, on this podcast, is independent living. For those veterans whose disabilities are so serious or they are currently not able to go to work, we can conduct a comprehensive independent living assessment to ensure that you have mobility in your home, that your activities of daily living are met based on your disabilities, and that your relationships and engagement with your family and the community are upheld by some avocational interests as well. So we do home modifications for veterans. We provide assistive devices. We provide computers and all of that so we can train them, get them on the internet so they can use all the latest and greatest technology to remain connected in the community. And the last thing that I would like to say is, during the COVID pandemic, we were able to make a very quick pivot to an all virtual environment to maintain the health, safety, and welfare of our employees and our participants. So we use VHA's video platform called VA Video Connect to conduct face-to-face, technology-driven interviews. We never missed a beat. We have all the technology so that we can continue to provide veterans services in the program uninterrupted. And we're really proud of the work that we've done in that space. So if the regional office is not open for business physically, brick and mortar, rest assured, we are all working. Every regional office staff is working to continue to support veterans that are in the program and to onboard veterans into the program who are applying today.
Very good. Now, as COVID evolves, and someday hopefully we'll come out of this, is that something that you're looking at, a capability that you're looking at keeping in your program?
Yes. In fact, I'm leading a project in VBA now to make recommendations based on lessons learned and best practices to provide veterans with more options and better access. So combining and mixing these platforms for customer service delivery still within our brick and mortar regional office facilities, online, self-service, and a whole host of other ways to really provide services in a way that our veterans want them and they experience in their own personal lives.
Yeah.